How do you help young men become more masculine and emotionally stable?
Of the first thing, I'm gonna go to Ephesians. Nope. Yeah. I'm gonna go to Romans. I'm gonna go to Romans. There's so many verses that pop in my head at one time. I'm gonna go to Romans chapter 12. Watch what the Apostle Paul said in verse 2. He says, "And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That's what young men have to be taught, not to conform themselves to this world, because this world teaches us that the gangster life is the real life. I remember growing up, the more women you had sexually, that made you a man. But that's not what God says. When you read, I'm going to give another one, Proverbs, I believe it's Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 8, "A man shall be commended according to his wisdom, but he that is of a perverse heart shall be despised." We have to be taught that wisdom makes a man, and that's not being taught. So we try to get our young men, listen, the Bible teaches us in Hebrews 13 and 4, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. That has to be taught to these young men, that they got to transform. What they see out in society, that's not the way to be a man. I don't care how rich you are, okay? Because the richest among us is vile, is detrimental, and dangerous to the community. They got to learn what God says a man is. Okay, so young men, they all want a wife, right? Everybody want to get some punani, everybody want buns. But in order, before you get that wife, it says, if a man don't work, he don't eat. Okay, you need a job, okay? Now, as you're getting your mind right, you get to become an entrepreneur if you want. If not, get a job. Be able to take care of yourself first. Then you'll be able to provide for a woman and a child and or children. And make sure that woman got her mind right? So you don't end up in divorce court. And it'll be the same ones that say, you can't judge me, but then you on Monday morning, you in family court getting judged by the white man. Judgment is worldwide. Everybody gets judged some way, shape, form, or fashion, okay? All we're doing is reading the Bible to the people to transform the minds of the men and the women. Young men must learn to become alpha males. They got to learn to become the heads of their house first and foremost, because that's what the scripture says in the book of Timothy about if a man don't know how to rule his own house, how can he guide the church of God? The church of God is our people, the Israelites. So becoming an alpha, if you look, and I want to say this, if you notice many of these eloquent speakers in the black community, they don't have any alpha males around them to teach them what they know. When they die, all the eloquence, the great ideas they got dies with them. You can't, they all, even like, I'm looking, you got Thomas and Cowell, great brother. He tried to teach his number two, his friend. The government paid his friend money to kill him. So what's going on here? So Marcus Garvey, great, one of the greatest black revolutionaries. Who was his number 2 and 3? When they exiled him to Jamaica, he went from there to England and died a mysterious death. Where did it carry on? It didn't. Martin Luther King, where was his number 2? Malcolm X, where was his number 2? This is why the Lord has us teaching these young men. Each of them must become leaders, revolutionary, just like Christ. He had 12 apostles, and under them, there were other men, thousands of men under them. We're doing the same thing today. So if they take me out, guess what? That's it. It ain't going to be. That's it. You got all these men under us, and their women are teaching the kids. It must go like that.
How are you guys teaching men to be more emotionally stable?
To become emotionally stable, number one, the women must there must be a man in the house. You need those two things, okay? Let me show you an example. Luke 7, let me show what Christ said. Luke 7 about the young men today. Watch, and it's funny, I always laugh when I read this because Christ said in Luke 7:31, he says this, bear with me a second. And the Lord said, whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what are they like? They are like unto children sitting in the marketplace. Christ said the men of his generation are like children, unstable, emotional, because they wanted Christ to follow what they were saying. Young men who grow up without a father are unstable emotionally. Why? Because their only example is their mama.
Facts, bro.
So you need that man in the house. So therefore, Not only must the woman get her mind right, the man must get his mind right. So the young men that come around us, we're very hard on them, okay, about their education, about their work habits, learn to wash themselves. Young girls who don't know how to wash the butt. Washing front, watch this. They wipe their behind from back to front. A girl wiping her behind from back to front leads to disease. She has to be taught it's from front to back.
Yeah, we had a reasoning with Nuri Muhammad about the nation. They had a hygiene program, and I was just saying how bad it had to be that you implemented it, because most things are reactionary. You react to something going wrong. And I was just saying, how bad was the hygiene collectively amongst the people he was teaching, where he had to implement a hygiene program?
Yes. Back in the day, during the 60s, 50s and 60s, they had etiquette classes where girls, like if you see the movie Five Heartbeats,
The Virgin wife.
Yeah, she was teaching the young girls how to sit down. Young girls supposed to sit with their legs closed. Today they sit down with their legs open. It's the little things that matter. So they got to be taught little things like that. Young men got to be taught how to sit, how to speak, how to conduct themselves in society, how to speak.
How to respond to adversity.
That's right. How to respond. Don't be easily, like in the book of Ephesians, it says, be angry but sin not. It's okay to get mad, but don't respond emotionally, because then you do something stupid and you end up behind bars. And that's what always happens. So the young men got to be taught how to control, contain their emotions.